we've got a 20 card PSA submission. Oh, this is, I think, my 6th ever PSA submission. So I've submitted quite a bit already, but this is going to be the first time that I'm uploading a return to this channel. So hopefully I'm not cringe. All right, anyways, let's get right into it and see. First card we have is a Japanese SAR, Altaria EX from Future Flash, I believe. It's the Japanese equivalent of Paradox Rift, which, by the way, underrated set. Probably my favorite Scarlet Violet era set. Let's take a look at this card. Got really beautiful texture, actually. I do already have a PSA 10 of this in English. The texture is way better on here. Just, you can see how the light reflects off of that little sun right there. It's so cool. Pretty nicely centered. I mean, it's a modern Japanese card. There's no way this doesn't get a 10, right? PSA 10. All right, we're off to a good start. Next up, we have Sylveon V-Max from Brilliant Stars. This is English this time. I got this card raw at a card show. I wasn't vending at that show. I was just walking around looking for stuff to grade. This was one of them. Honestly, pretty well centered. I know a lot of these alt arts from the Sword and Shield era have pretty bad centering. This one is pretty good, and there's no like obvious chipping on the black border. Really cool artwork, by the way. I did grade the Umbreon V-Max Trainer Gallery from also Brilliant Stars last month. That one got a 9. I think the centering on that one was a little bit borderline. This one definitely looks better. And that's how I got a PSA 10. Just to clarify, I already know all of these grades. I have zero patience whatsoever. I saw the grades, I click on them, I go ooga booga, yay, grades, or no, I got too many 9s, whatever. You'll see what happens. What am I saying? Another Japanese card, Bulbasaur. Oh, I remember, yeah. So, I tried to get a sequential set of the Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur from Japanese 151. I know with these type of art rares, the number one thing is centering. Let's check the centering on here. It's honestly a little bit left heavy. It's not too egregious, but the left is definitely a little bit heavier than the right. The rest of the card is going to be clean though. It's Japanese art rare. But I did get the 10. I was like, okay. So far, our sequential set dreams are looking pretty good. Yeah. It's pretty obvious why as well. Left is like, if this was left heavy, this is left obese. Honestly, I shouldn't have even graded this. I probably should have just waited for a better copy of the Ivysaur to grade. But it is what it is. But that does ruin our sequential. And it really sucks because the Venusaur actually ended up getting a 10. Venusaur is actually, honestly, the best centered out of a 3. Man, look at that texture though. Isn't that so cool? Obviously the card is clean. The rest of the card is going to be clean. But yeah, there was our failed sequential. Which, I guess if you think about it, I'm pretty sure the Ivysaur individually is actually the cheapest PSA 10. So obviously sequential 10 would have been the best case scenario. But I think this was still the second best case scenario because we got the more important cards to get PSA 10s on. So I guess we'll separate, this will start our 9 pile. Oh, okay. Let me get something real quick. This was a PSA submission back in March, I think. I graded the Astral Radiance Garchomp. Got him at 9. I was like, this card doesn't look like a 9. It's so clean. And if you look at, that's what this card is. Like, I mean, I think the only thing that could be off is that the centering is a little tilted, but it's really not that bad. But the card is clean. And another thing that's worth noting, the last time I got this card as the Mint 9, there was a little mark right on the Pokeball right there. And I was like 99.9% sure that it wasn't there when I submitted it the first time. And it turns out it wasn't. It was like a piece of dust or like gunk that got on the card in between that submission process. So I cleaned that off, subbed it again to grading, and now it's back. What do you think this got? Isn't that crazy? I'm probably going to keep this in my personal collection now because that's really funny. All right. Interesting story about this. See this? I don't even remember when I graded this. Probably like March or April or something. The thing with this submission, or with, not this submission, this card, isn't this kind of left heavy? Like, look at that. I mean, the rest of a card looks clean, but I didn't really expect this to get a 10. I submitted it more so as an experiment, just to see if this card has the potential to get a 10. Obviously it did, so I was like, okay, this got a 10. I have the rainbow version of this card that has a similar centering issue. If anything, the centering on this one is a little bit worse. So I was like, okay, if this got a 10, this has a chance to get a 10. Do I crack and resubmit this one? I think I probably should, but I don't know. This one, however, I'm absolutely cracking and resubmitting because no way should this have gotten a PSA 9. Like, I'm not even joking when I say out of this entire submission, this was probably the card that I was the most confident in getting a 10. Even more so than some of the Japanese cards. Like, this Leafeon, English Leafeon, had a better chance of getting a PSA 10 than this Japanese Bulbasaur. Definitely gonna crack out of the slab, closer look at it, see if I missed anything in the initial pre-grading. And if it looks good, screw it, I'm just gonna submit it again. Oh, I'll show the back as well, I guess. Yeah, see? I think that's on the slab. Yeah, that's just dust on the slab. The reflection makes it look like there's whitening, but there's no whitening on any of these corners. I don't see any visible whitening on the edges either. So I don't know. That one probably gonna end up cracking and resubmitting. All right, Mega Blastoise EX from Evolutions. Not the big one, but still Mega Blastoise. I got this at the same card show that I got the Leafeon. Oh, I graded and the Gengar from Phantom Forces. That's what it was. I subbed it differently because I wanted to get it back faster. That one got a 10. I've made a YouTube short about it. But yeah, Mega Blastoise from Evolutions, PSA 10. And an interesting thing that I've noticed, especially with some of these X and Y era cards, the centering doesn't have to be perfect. Because if you look at that top border, it's almost a little slanted. It's way thicker here than it ends over here. I thought that was something that was worth pointing out. I've seen other XY era EXs with a similar type of centering get a 10. And I feel like if that was a modern Scarlet Violet era card, that probably wouldn't have gotten a 10. Rest of the card obviously is clean though. There's no whitening at all. Put another one to our 10 pile. Skeledirge. Man, Paldea Evolved is, some of these cards have really bad gem rates. I'm not sure if this is one of them or not. I know that obviously the Magikarp is notorious. Tyranitar is also really hard to grade. I think there were like 1 or 2 white dots on the corners somewhere. Oh, right there. So I don't know if you can catch that on the camera or not. Let me see if I can get it black. 1 larger white dot and then like 2 smaller white dots kind of around it. It's not a perfect corner, but I've seen cards like this get a PSA 10 before. And I think the other corners are fine. Did get a 9 though. Guess if we look at the card a little closer, I guess it's a little bit right heavy. It really isn't that bad though. Like I would say centering wise, this is about as right heavy as that Bulbasaur was left heavy. Or maybe the centering on this one is actually even a little bit better. All right, Feebas from Surging Sparks. This one actually has a pretty low gem rate. Might be because of that background. I feel like anytime you have a solid color background like this in an illustration rare, it's easier to see scratching. Back is pretty good though. I don't think there were any white dots here whatsoever. Maybe right there, like a really small white dot. Yeah, you can kind of see it when I make it a black background. It's not that bad though. Definitely a smaller white dot than the Skeledirge. And we did hit the PSA 10. Really cheap illustration rare, but goes for like 60 or 70 in a 10. So nice little upside right there. Gardevoir. Not Paldea and Fates, but Shiny Treasure EX. I mean, it's Japanese, it's probably going to get a 10. Yeah, I feel like with these Japanese cards, so long as the centering is on point, and if the edges don't have a rough cut, it's probably going to be a 10. But yeah, that's cool. Okay, so here's an example of a card that I subbed without the intention of getting a PSA 10 in. PSA 6, Lieutenant Surge's Raichu. I think 6 was actually kind of a low grade for this though. I was expecting either a 7 or an 8. This one I kind of just submitted just because I wanted to. You can definitely see there's a little bit of whitening up there. But aside from that though, I don't know. There's no other whitening anywhere else. Maybe it's a hollow pattern, like that it got really scratched up for some reason, and I didn't spot that. I guess we'll just put that there. Everything else in this pile should be a PSA 9 or higher. We'll see what this one is. Right, okay. I feel like I submitted a lot of these cards, as in the tag team cards. And I've had a pretty good gem rate with a lot of them. Like I've graded the Umbreon Darkrai from Unified Minds, that one got a 10. Same with the Marshadow Machamp from Unbroken Bonds. This one is a Mega Sableye Tyranitar with that glossy hollow finish. It is a little bit top heavy. If you compare the top border to the bottom border, it's definitely not perfect. Maybe a little bit left heavy as well, but I think I submitted this one because I got this card back. Actually, I guess if you look at it side by side, this one is a little bit worse. Maybe that explains why I got the 9. Could have been better, could have been worse though. No whitening anywhere on the corners or edges, but that's a PSA 9. Oh, well, I just showed the grade. This one I actually would have been surprised if it got a 10 in. The reason why I submitted this one is because if you look at the bottom, and this was really just more so information for me, if you look at the bottom edge right there, oh, I think you kind of see it actually. There were these little white dots on that bottom edge. And to me, they looked more like something from printing than actual whitening. So I really wasn't sure how something like this would grade. But yeah, that one I just kind of submitted just as an experiment. Speaking of experiments, I think you see where this is going. Lugia V from Silver Tempest. Centering is not perfect. Well, the first time I submitted it, I got a 9. The centering comes out pretty much exactly to 55-45. Like 55-45, 56, like maybe 54. I knew submitting this the first time, it had kind of a 50-50 chance between a 9 or a 10, right? First time I subbed it, got a 9. What if I tried again? We got a PSA 10. I think I bought this raw back in February for under $300. But yeah, I was super pumped when I saw this grade. Will I sell this or not? Who knows? I think I want to hold on to it at least for a little bit because it's really cool. If I get bored of it or if I just want something else, maybe I'll sell it then. Go ahead and put this one right here actually. Why not? Just to show it off. Only 4 more cards left. PSA 9 Shaman, Destined Rivals. I don't even know if this was worth subbing in the first place. I've seen worse cards get a 10, but I can't argue with a 9 here. But yeah. All right, let's go through the rest of these. Japanese Garchomp Giratina, Tag Team, and a PSA 10. I bought out a Japanese lot in June at a card show. That was the same lot that I got the Gardevoir and the Altaria from towards the beginning of the video. We'll stick that on the 10 pile right there. 2 more cards. Unagaba Sylveon. Got a PSA 10. One thing I did notice though, you see that right there? I don't think that was on the card when I submitted it. Want to say that that's just a piece of dust because I don't know if this would have gotten a 10 if that's actually like missing ink or chipped off. I wouldn't have graded this if that dot was on there, or I highly doubt I would have. But it did get a PSA 10. It's pretty well centered. I know these Unagabas, some of them have pretty bad centering, but this one is centered nice. Obviously the back is fine. The last card of the submission. Oh, this one's pretty nice too actually. Mega Rayquaza. Not the original Roaring Skies one, but the one from Celebrations. Let's take a look at this card. Really cool texture actually, if you look at where his face is. I really enjoy that. Back of the card, no whitening anywhere. It's actually very clean. Got the PSA 10. All right, so here's the piles as kind of a visual. If you ignore this card that I knew for a fact I wasn't going to get a 10 on, my gem rate was 12 out of 19 in this submission, which is about 64%, I think, which is actually my worst PSA gem rate I've had ever. But I'm honestly fine with that. We hit the 10s on the really big cards in the sub. I'm still trying to figure out which cards are worth grading and in what condition, because There was a period in time which I was way too strict with grading, and I had like a 92% gem rate, just because there were a bunch of cards that, even though I didn't think they would get a 10, did end up getting a 10. I think I kind of overcorrected for that in this sub. I think it's important to submit, obviously, cards that you think will get a 10, but if you have like borderline cards or cards that are kind of iffy, I mean, Lugia is a perfect example. I think you should just go for it. Definitely be careful with that though. If you get like 9s or 8s on all of them, then you're kind of cooked. My next PSA submission, I submit about like once a month, so my next one will be coming back in probably a month. Maybe a little less, but we'll see.